My dad, he used to always emphasize knowledge is power. And so I just always wanted to learn new things.
Now on to one of our other big stories. The king of pop has died. Michael Jackson, the pop music and dance innovator, passed away yesterday.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop, has just shattered another music industry record. Even after his untimely and shocking death. But behind the glitz and glamour lies a darker story. Mystery, controversy, and the questionable choices of those around him. From global superstardom to heartbreaking headlines,
Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say I love him.
this video uncovers the highs, the lows, and the legacy of a true cultural icon. Stay with us. You won't want to miss a second of this unforgettable journey. The rise of a relentless icon. Before the fame, before the glove, before he was crowned the king of pop, there was just Michael, a boy from Gary, Indiana, born 8th out of 10 siblings in a tiny working-class home. But this isn't just another rags to riches story. This is the story of struggle, survival, and transformation. Michael Jackson didn't just break records. He redefined what it meant to be a global icon. But before the stadium tours, before the diamond-selling albums, there was fear, pain, pressure. His childhood? Brutal. His father, Joe Jackson, ruled with an iron fist. Perfection was expected, and punishment was swift. Michael grew up terrified, often hiding from the sound of his father's footsteps. Yet, something undeniable burned inside him. At just 5 years old, he was already stealing the spotlight from his older brothers. The Jackson 5 wasn't just a group, it became a launch pad. His mother, Catherine, saw the spark. While she worked long hours at Sears, she made sure Michael's gift didn't fade. But life didn't spare him tragedy. Michael's younger brother Brandon died shortly after birth. The grief was heavy, but the Jacksons kept moving. Music became their escape, their survival. By 1965, Michael had become the front man of the Jackson 5. His voice didn't sound like a kid's. It had soul, power, emotion. Audiences were stunned. Then came 1967, the year that changed everything. One amateur night at Harlem's Apollo Theater turned them from local talent to Motown's next big thing, and that was just the beginning. Michael wasn't interested in just being a star. He wanted to rewrite the rules. In the 80s, he didn't just release hits. He created cultural earthquakes. Thriller, Billie Jean, Beat It. Songs that didn't just top charts, they set new standards. His music videos, mini-movies, his dance moves, unmatched. And the moonwalk? A global phenomenon. But what made Michael different wasn't just his talent, it was his vision. He didn't follow trends, he created them. He took pop music, bent it, stretched it, flipped it, and made it something new. From a scared boy in Gary to a global force that changed the face of entertainment, this is Michael Jackson, the man who didn't just rise, he reigned. Becoming the king of pop. Before the moonwalk, before the Grammy sweeps and global superstardom, there was a group of kids from Gary, Indiana, who were about to shake the world. The Jackson 5, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael, started as a family band with big dreams and relentless drive. Managed by their father, Joe Jackson, they cut their teeth performing in clubs and talent shows across the Chitlin circuit. It was raw, it was real, and it was the beginning of something massive. In 1967, they dropped their first tracks under Steeltown Records, but the real shift came 2 years later. With help from Diana Ross, the group signed with Motown in 1969 and released their debut single, I Want You Back. One song, one shot, straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The Jackson 5 weren't just famous, they were unstoppable. And right at the center of it all, Michael Jackson. At just 11 years old, he wasn't simply the youngest, he was the spark. That voice, that stage presence, that energy. He didn't perform, he owned every second. With back-to-back hits like ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There, the Jackson 5 became icons of the 1970s. But for Michael, that success was just the warm-up. By the time he was 13, he launched a solo career that would flip the music world on its head. His first single, Got to Be There, in 1971 revealed something deeper, an artist who could connect emotionally beyond his years. But the real explosion came in 1979 with Off the Wall. Produced by Quincy Jones, the album fused pop, funk, soul, and disco like never before. Tracks like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough became instant classics. The album didn't just win awards, it launched a new era. And Michael? He wasn't looking back. Then came 1982, Thriller. Not just a hit, the hit. Over 66 million copies sold worldwide. The best-selling album in music history. But it wasn't just about numbers, it was about impact. His music videos became cultural events. Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller weren't just songs. They were short films packed with storylines, special effects, and jaw-dropping choreography. Thriller, directed by John Landis, turned a music video into a 14-minute horror epic that shattered every expectation. Michael wasn't just singing anymore, he was reinventing entertainment. From a young boy in a family band to the king of pop, Michael Jackson's rise wasn't luck. It was a legacy in the making. And this is how history was written. One beat, one move, one unforgettable moment at a time. Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley's secret marriage. Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley, a pairing no one saw coming. Two icons, one shocking romance, and a story that the media only scratched the surface of. They first met in the 70s backstage at a Vegas show. Nothing serious, just a quick introduction. Years passed. Then Lisa Marie dropped her first demo. That's when Jackson reached out. One call turned into late-night conversations, and suddenly, they were inseparable. Lisa Marie later revealed he wasn't just looking for a friend, he was chasing her. "I thought he was lonely and needed someone to talk to," she said, "but he was pursuing me." In 1994, Jackson drops the L word. She says it back. There's just one catch. She's still married to Danny Keough, father of her two kids, Riley and Benjamin. But that didn't last. The divorce was finalized. And just weeks later, Lisa Marie Presley and Michael Jackson got married. No headlines, no crowds. Just a 15-minute ceremony in La Vega, Dominican Republic. They wore all black. Jackson added a cowboy belt and a flamenco hat. But he later admitted the moment felt empty without his mother, Catherine. Still, the wedding had to be secret. Jackson feared the press would turn it into a circus. But here's what almost no one knew. Jackson had already proposed to her in 1993. Late-night phone call. No warning. Just one question. If I asked you to marry me, would you do it? Lisa Marie didn't hesitate. I would. Still, things spiraled quickly. Jackson's addiction issues strained the relationship. Lisa Marie tried to help, but the cracks deepened. By 1996, the marriage was over. Divorce finalized. Public statement. Silence followed. Then came the twist. Lisa Marie didn't want kids with Jackson. And when she said no, Debbie Rowe stepped in. She offered to carry his child. Not long after Jackson and Presley split, Rowe became pregnant. But tragedy struck. She miscarried in March 1996. It devastated her. She feared she couldn't become a mother. Jackson stayed by her side, comforting her, all while the world knew nothing. Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley weren't just a headline. They were two damaged stars trying to find peace in each other. But fame, addiction, and pressure tore them apart. A love that burned bright and vanished just as fast. Private world of Parenthood. Michael Jackson's first child with Debbie Rowe, a baby boy named Michael Joseph Jackson Jr., better known as Prince, was born on February 13, 1997 in Los Angeles. The name? A family legacy. Prince was named after Michael's grandfather and great-grandfather. After the birth, Michael took the baby straight to Neverland Ranch. Rowe, meanwhile, didn't go home. She recovered at a friend's place. 6 weeks later, she finally met her son. Not for bonding, just for a photo op. Michael arranged a brief hotel meetup. She was handed the baby, told to smile for the cameras, then sent on her way. That was it. She didn't want to get attached. She knew the deal. Back at Neverland, Prince had a full-time staff, 6 nannies, 6 nurses. One of them later admitted Debbie was barely around. She showed up maybe 3 times, looked distant. By November that same year, Rowe was pregnant again. This time, it was a girl. The name? Paris, because the parents said she was conceived there. Paris Michael Catherine Jackson was born on April 3, 1998. Michael was reportedly so overwhelmed, he grabbed his daughter, still covered in placenta, and rushed home. He later froze the placenta. There's more. Michael's team contacted the Vatican, hoping the Pope would baptize Paris. The response? A polite no. The Vatican wouldn't be part of a publicity stunt. By 2000, Rowe wanted out. The arrangement wasn't working for her. The divorce was finalized that April. She got $10 million, $1.5 million up front. But the big thing? She gave Jackson full custody. No shared parenting, no back and forth, just him. Still, she claimed they stayed friends. In a later interview, Rowe explained her decision clearly. Her kids don't call her mom because she didn't want them to. She said she had them for Michael, so he could be a dad. And no, she didn't leave them. They were where she believed they should be, with him. Fast forward to 2002. Jackson had a third child, Prince Michael Jackson II, aka Blanket. Born through a surrogate, Jackson said the child was conceived via artificial insemination using his sperm. The identity of the mother? Never revealed. Rowe said she wasn't involved. 2 years later, Rowe filed for visitation. By 2006, she and Jackson reached a custody agreement. When Jackson died in 2009, his mother, Catherine, took full guardianship of all 3 kids. Rowe was granted visitation and continued to receive support payments. Years later, speculation about the kids' biology spread. Their light skin raised questions. Jackson always maintained they were his biological children. Paris Jackson's glam life. She was only 11 when the world lost the king of pop. But for Paris Jackson, that day meant losing something far greater, her dad. In front of millions, she stepped up to the mic at Michael Jackson's memorial in 2009 and said what every heart felt but couldn't express. Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. I love him so much. One raw sentence. One unforgettable moment. Fast forward to today. Paris is no longer just Michael Jackson's daughter. She's a fighter, a creator, a voice. Music runs through her like blood. It's not a career choice. It's her way of breathing. She once said, "It is awareness. It is being able to create something bigger than me. It is a way to express myself and externalize what I feel inside." But let's be clear, growing up as the child of a global icon isn't a golden ticket. It's pressure, it's pain, it's public judgment. Paris has lived all of it. Fame never asked her if she was ready. She's battled mental health struggles, public scrutiny, and the weight of a name known across continents. She's been open, she's been real, and she's never played the victim. In a 2017 Rolling Stone interview, she dropped a truth bomb. They always say time heals, but it really doesn't. You just get used to it. That kind of pain doesn't vanish. It becomes part of you. But here's the twist. She didn't let it break her. Instead, she's using her story to fuel her own fire. Whether it's her music, her acting, or her unapologetic authenticity, Paris is building her own identity, raw, fearless, and 100% hers. She's not chasing her father's shadow. She's creating light in her own way. When she steps on stage, it's not about legacy, it's about release. Her lyrics hit differently because they come from scars. Real ones. And maybe that's what makes Paris Jackson so captivating. She's not a product of fame, she's a product of resilience. She didn't ask for this life, but she's owning it. Reconnected bonds. She grew up not even knowing her mother existed. Then at 15, everything changed. Paris Jackson's relationship with her mother, Debbie Rowe, wasn't just complicated. It was non-existent for most of her early life. Paris has openly said, "When I was really young, my mom didn't exist." That wasn't just a metaphor, it was her reality. Let's rewind. Michael Jackson married Debbie Rowe, a nurse, in 1996. They had 2 children, Prince and Paris. But things didn't stay stable for long. Just 2 years after Paris was born, the marriage ended. Rowe walked away, not just from Michael, but from her kids too. She gave up full parental rights, reportedly in exchange for a massive payout and nearly a 7-figure annual allowance. Why would a mother make that decision? Rowe said she didn't want to share parenting duties because she believed Michael was already doing a great job. In her words, "I want to forever give up any and all rights, because I fully believe that by doing so, it is in the children's best interests." So Paris grew up without a mother in the picture. She had questions, she had curiosity, and by age 15, she decided to take control of the story. She searched for Rowe online. She made contact. That single choice changed everything. They didn't just reconnect, they clicked. They found similarities, shared tastes, especially in music. Paris started describing their relationship as chill and very cool. She didn't just meet her mother, she found a friend. Then came 2017. Debbie Rowe was diagnosed with breast cancer. It could have widened the distance, but it didn't. Paris stood by her mother throughout chemotherapy. She posted a heartfelt message on Instagram that read, "I'm a fighter because she's a fighter. Love you, Mom." That wasn't for show, that was real. This isn't a fairy tale. It's not the story of a perfect family. It's about 2 people, once strangers, finding each other again through pain, through healing, and through honesty. Paris didn't just forgive, she embraced. Debbie didn't just return, she opened up. What started as an absence turned into something unshakable, and all it took was a little curiosity, and a message that changed both their lives forever. You're not going to want to look away from this. Father and career coach. Paris Jackson has always spoken about the powerful impact her father, Michael Jackson, had on her decision to pursue acting. It wasn't just a passing suggestion from a legendary parent, it was a deliberate choice he helped her make. Michael didn't just encourage her to act, he personally taught her the craft. He believed in nurturing her talent, guiding her through improvisation exercises to refine her skills. Paris has openly shared how much the film Moonwalker meant to her. She recalled watching it and thinking, "I want to be just like him." That inspiration sparked a deep desire to step into the world of acting, just as her father had stepped into the world of entertainment and changed it forever. Michael wasn't only a global icon, but he was also a teacher who wanted his children to have the tools to succeed, no matter the challenges they might face. As a father, his advice wasn't limited to just acting. He gave Paris a glimpse into the dark side of the industry. Michael warned her about the dangers of fame, the jealousy, and the lengths some people would go to in order to tear him down. Paris has mentioned how her father made her aware of the harsh realities, the rumors, the lies, the false stories, how some people in the industry would do anything to damage his reputation. But even with all the negativity surrounding him, Michael Jackson didn't let it break his spirit. He continued to rise above, and his influence on Paris was powerful. She didn't just see the world through the lens of a celebrity's daughter. She was shaped by the resilience and lessons he passed on. He taught her to be prepared for the industry's ups and downs. Michael instilled in her the belief that while fame could bring you unimaginable joy, it could also bring you immense challenges. The entertainment industry isn't always kind, and Michael made sure Paris knew that. He helped her understand that as her career blossomed, she would encounter jealousy, backhanded comments, and even betrayal. The truth, as Michael explained, was that many people in the business weren't interested in the truth. They were interested in power, in stories that would sell, in tearing people down. Paris learned these hard truths from the very person who had to live through them every day. But her father's legacy didn't just consist of warnings and difficulties. It was about perseverance, about making a lasting impact, and continuing to push forward despite the obstacles. She's working to ensure his legacy lives on, both in her acting and in her approach to life. Every step Paris takes in the industry carries the mark of Michael's influence, from his early advice to the way he lived his own life as an artist and an icon. Carrying his spirit. Paris. Jackson is keeping her father's spirit alive in ways that are deeply personal and profoundly meaningful. Michael Jackson, the King of Pop, passed away at the age of 50 on June 25, 2009, leaving behind a legacy that's as large as his influence. Paris, just 11 at the time, has spent her life navigating the weight of his fame while honoring his memory in her own way. In a candid conversation with Willow Smith on the Red Table Talk podcast, Paris revealed how she keeps her father's memory vibrant. The 23-year-old model explained that it's not about holding on to material things or grand gestures. It's about living by the core values he taught her. She shared that the lessons she holds on to most are compassion, humility, and tolerance. Even if someone wrongs you, pray for them and show kindness, she said. It's these principles that guide her every day, and, in her words, are the foundation of how she strives to make her father proud. Growing up in the intense spotlight that surrounded her father wasn't easy. Paris has opened up about the psychological toll that constant media attention took on her, leading to anxiety, paranoia, and even auditory hallucinations. It's a heavy burden to carry for anyone, especially for a child. Today, she's in therapy, grappling with what she describes as standard PTSD. But she's not just surviving, she's using her experiences to shape her life. Despite the challenges, Paris's relationship with her father remains central to her. She often reflects on how Michael raised her with a grounded sense of morals. She recalls that, despite his global fame, he was adamant that his children value what they had, never taking anything for granted. Privacy, however, was a luxury Paris couldn't afford. Her family was constantly under the media's microscope, and as a result, she takes extreme precautions to protect her peace. Anyone entering her home must sign a non-disclosure agreement, her way of keeping her life as private as possible in an industry that thrives on exposure. Her relationship with her mother, Debbie Rowe, who was married to Michael, has evolved over time. Paris started connecting with her mother when she was 15, years after her father's passing. Their bond is chill, Paris says, and while they share many similarities, including physical traits, their relationship has grown stronger as she's gotten older. Her brother, Prince Michael, also keeps a low profile but recently shared a rare glimpse into his childhood in an interview. He spoke about a lesson from his dad, the importance of always learning. Prince also mentioned that he didn't fully understand the scope of his father's fame until he saw fans fainting at a concert, a moment that helped him realize the global impact Michael had. As the years pass, Michael Jackson's legacy continues to be dissected and scrutinized. But for Paris and her siblings, it's about cherishing the lessons, the love, and the moments they shared. Paris stands firm in her defense of her father. In moments of public doubt, she has always felt the need to speak out, to set the record straight. "I'll always defend him," she said, "and for those who knew him, and those who continue to love him, it's a promise that keeps his legacy alive." Paris Jackson breaks her silence. Michael Jackson was rehearsing for his big comeback. It was mid-June. The lights were on, the stage was set, but something was off. According to longtime friend Karen Fay, he looked frozen. Not in a dramatic sense, frozen, like a man standing on the edge of something he couldn't name. He kept saying the same haunting phrase over and over, Why can't I choose? She'd never seen him like this before. Gaunt, shaken. At nearly 6 feet tall, he barely weighed 130 pounds. And there was someone new in the picture, Dr. Conrad Murray. Jackson had met him years earlier when one of his children needed medical attention in Vegas. Now, Murray was by his side every day, hired to keep him healthy, hired to make sure the King of Pop could survive the grueling schedule ahead. But according to many close to Michael, Murray wasn't there to heal. He was there to control. Michael had lived in pain for years. The 1984 Pepsi commercial accident had left him with head burns. A stage collapse in Germany broke his back. Sleep rarely came easily, especially during tours. By 2009, his body had taken a beating, but his mind was still focused on giving the world a show they'd never forget. And then, Paris Jackson spoke out. Her words weren't polished, they weren't prepared, they were raw, unfiltered, and personal. She remembered the fear in her father's voice. He kept telling her that something didn't feel right, that people around him didn't have his best interests at heart. He was always exhausted, always being pushed. He wasn't just preparing for a tour, he was fighting to stay alive. Paris didn't just question the official story, she tore it apart. Dr. Murray didn't make a mistake, she said. He made choices, dangerous, reckless choices. He gave her father powerful sedatives meant for hospital use, at home, in secret, without proper monitoring. And when things went south, he waited. Those lost minutes, they mattered. To Paris, it wasn't just about what Murray did, it was about why. And that's where things get even darker. Twisted truth. Conrad Murray wasn't just Michael Jackson's doctor. He was a man buried in debt, juggling financial chaos from multiple children with different women, and owing money to people, including the Jacksons themselves. That wasn't just a red flag. For Paris Jackson, it was a full-blown alarm. The deeper she looked, the darker it got. Was this really about medical negligence, or something more? Paris believed Murray's desperation wasn't just clouding his judgment, it was steering his every move. The idea that her father's death could have been more than an accident started to take root. This wasn't just a medical mistake. It felt planned, personal, maybe even calculated. The courts called it involuntary manslaughter, gave him a few years behind bars. But Paris? She wasn't buying it. In her eyes, Murray didn't just fail as a doctor. He shattered a family. He didn't just lose control of a patient, he destroyed a legacy. He didn't just take a life, he took a father from his daughter. And that kind of damage, it doesn't get fixed with a jail sentence. So, was it about the drugs, the pressure, or the money? Because once you start following the motive, the story changes, the truth gets twisted, and the heartbreak runs even deeper. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more amazing stories.